All right, welcome to episode 89 of My FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's a blog which you can find at nope, scratch that. Well, possibly you can find it at www.myfxbuddies.com, but you have to use HTTPS as in secure. But you definitely will find it at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And this is one you're going to want to go to the blog because I'm going to be pointing to some words that I'm not going to say. And if you're just listening, it's not going to make sense to you. Again, if you're just listening, it's not going to make sense to you. And if you are listening to this on YouTube, notice I said listening. The link to the blog is in the More box. So the box that appears to be a video, look below that, click on the word More, another box opens, and the link to the blog is there. The link to rss.com is there also, because that is where a transcript, a really good transcript is. All of this is for free. Some of you have asked if there was a way you could support me. There will be a link, and I will not be advertising it or whatever, but there's a link in the box, more info, description, whatever, because different places call it different things. That's just if you'd like. It's there. I'm not changing anything. I will not be any more professional than I am now. I do this all by myself. I don't have a team. It's just me gathering what I like, the articles that help tell the story in the manner that I like, and then I try to make it concise and clear to those who like to listen. Okay? There's enough people out in dinar land, as I call it, where there's a information provider for you. If I'm not the one, it doesn't hurt my feelings. Okay? All right. What else? Spotify.com has video if you pay and audio if you're a free member. And I believe that's it. But anywhere where you're enjoying this content, like I said, if there's a more open description information that is there, click on that. The link to the blog will be there. All right. So it was a very heavy 2 days. So you're probably listening to this, even though I started this on July 30th, it will not update until July 31st. So welcome to Wednesday, right? If that's when you're listening. Don't stay focused. This is probably going to be a 40-minute one. I will try to keep it to 30, but I'm just preparing you if you want to pause and get something to drink or a snack or something. I just wanted to put that out there. Even though it's 2 days, a lot happened, especially in the night of Tuesday night for us, Wednesday morning for Iraq and Ice Cream Land, right? Okay, so we'll get into it. I think that's everything. If not, oh well. All right, so the title article is this: U.S. requests CBI to merge dollar-banned banks and close distressed banks. So this didn't take any time, did it? If you listen to the last podcast, there was an article in there where I said, I think they're threatening the CBI in Iraq. And we were. It said, I can't remember the exact title now, but it said the Federal Reserve, something, something. And it said, we're not going to wait forever, right? And look, not even a week later, here they are requesting to merge the dollar band banks and close distressed banks. So let's see. And actually, this came out today. The Central Bank of Iraq is facing, it came out July 30th. The Central Bank of Iraq is facing new demands from the U.S. regarding the dollar band and distressed banks, sources revealed on Tuesday. According to sources, both the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve have instructed the CBI to merge banks that are prohibited from dealing in dollars and to close certain distressed banks. The sources noted that the CBI is expected to implement swift actions in this regard. This move aims to stabilize the banking sector and improve the exchange rate. That would be the dollar exchange rate. No, that would be the dinar rate, right? Okay. In response to Washington's demands, the central bank has enlisted an international consultancy, probably Ernst & Young, to devise a comprehensive plan which will encompass the merging and closing of banks, the sources said. The consultancy, recommended by U.S. authorities, is reported to have functions similar to those of K2, though its name and additional details have not been disclosed. But it'll be some Price Waterhouse, whatever. It'll be something like that, right? And it doesn't say a time frame, how long this is going to take, but they're going to do it. And I feel this may be the last bit of corruption that needs to be shored up before they move forward. I also feel this is an escalated move brought on by the total reality show that is our presidential situation over here, right? Okay. I mean, you couldn't write a better movie, right? I'm not saying that it's not true and the things aren't really happening. I'm just saying, wow, right? Anyway, and I don't even follow it that much. I follow it through Iraq's news. So, wow, imagine if I did follow it through our news. Anyway, oops. America to confine Iraqi banks to prevent currency smuggling to Iran. And I think I showed you guys, there's an article, more than one, too. Iran has been openly, and I haven't seen anything saying, no, we didn't say that. There's been articles of Iran saying, if Orange Man Bad gets in, he's going to put sanctions back on us and he's going to take our money. So, which I hope is a good thing because I hope it will keep them from interfering, right? But now there's all this other stuff going on, which I'll get to that towards the end. So I'm not going to read this because it's pretty much the same thing. It's just, this is saying Washington aims to tighten its control over the movement of dollars from Iraq to Iran, Syria, and this group right here, Hez, H-E-Z, and there's more after that, in Lebanon. So, and we do know, I believe you know, there's been escalation and expansion, right? Because now kablooies are going off in Lebanon, right? So, there's escalation and expansion. Now, let's see. Here, Mahmoud Dagher, he's a former CBI official, revealed the central bank plans to withdraw from its intermediary, role in purchasing hard currency by the end of 2024. So, we could be here. Now, remember, did we go over they're going to have this grand event to christen the CBI building. And the date, no, we didn't. Because we didn't have time. The date is either the end of this year or early next year. But the way that they announced it was like they had an actual date. So it's starting to come up in some articles, things by the end of 2024. So, just saying, we're going to probably be here till then. So, but I do recommend you go to the blog and read these articles. They're short and concise. Especially these first three. These are the first three. Aliyah Nassif, remember, she's a lady. She's a lady. She used to be part of Maliki's coalition, but she has since left. But she's still in the government. She has been for quite some time. She's been on TV. They interview her. They seem to listen to her. But she's saying the central bank has executed Iraqi banks with new procedures. And the new procedures are in the previous blog. Samir Nusari, that article that he did that had the 3 axes, right? That's what she's saying. And she tweeted about it. That's what she's saying. They've executed the banks. That's some serious wordage right there, right? Yeah, I just said wordage. I'm listening to something outside. Okay. All right. So, and then here, U.S. Treasury sanctions individuals and entities linked to Iran's missile and drone program. So there you are. New sanctions. Now it's not on Iran. It's not on the country of Iran. It's not on the money. It's on individuals and entities in Iran. But almost like what they spoke is coming true, right? So we'll see. So they did that, and here is an executive order. I wonder who signed that executive order. Haha, joke. All right. So those were the main articles that I wanted at the top, right? That I wanted to cover. Oh, we're at 12 minutes. So now here are some articles from July 29th. Al-Nusari, it's the same guy, Samir Al-Nusari, but this is a different article. He details the investment map and confirms it will achieve sustainable development. Those of you who listen to me, I tell you, when you see sustainable development, that is Agenda 2030. If you do not know what Agenda 2030 is, it affects every human in the world. It started Agenda 21. You can look that up. And then it's Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050. You really need to educate yourself about that so we can find it. All right. Manipulating budget tables is a scandal waiting to break out. So now this is the next episode of the budget table. And I think there's 2. We might have 2 articles. This one. So now, look, it's gone down from 20 trillion to 15 trillion to 5 trillion to approximately 2 trillion dinars were lost in the budget tables. So yeah, that they're dealing with that. Who knows what they're doing? But if you'd like to read that, you can. But there's other stuff that I'd rather get to. All right. Here's a journalist questioning the CBI about acquisition. And let's see. Oops, I left this. Should say after greetings. Let's see. It's so another thing that's going on is Ernst & Young, maybe another company also, they are auditing the banks. and they're finding wrongdoings, and they're publishing it along with a link to the report of the findings. So putting that out for the people to read, right? So I believe these findings have stemmed this interview. And it's not the CBI governor being interviewed. It's just maybe this person right here, but whatever. It's pretty interesting, especially if you're newer to this. You may want to read this interview, and it's just 3 questions, very short. Okay, Finance and World Bank meet to conclude fruitful agreements that support Iraq's development path. Oh, there's a picture here, but it's just the people in the meeting, which is, I think 6 people, but the Minister of Finance, Miss Sammy, she's there, and then some other people. So yeah, they're having meetings. It's World Bank, probably the IMF, but this is talking about the development. Oh, no. I thought this was about the development path, development road. But it's not. This seems to be about developing. Oh, okay. It is. It's an infrastructure deal. Developing roads. So, see, I'm so used to seeing articles about that development path thing that's what I thought this was. So it has money in it. There's money in it for employment, jobs. You know, they encourage a lot of the young people to be entrepreneurs. So pretty good meeting. Very unlikely that they discussed the rate change, but you never know. And for some reason, here is they also had this in social media, and this is the wording that was in social media. Oh my gosh, we're at 17 minutes. Here's another article. How did the decisions of the Central Bank of Iraq contribute to the dollar crisis? If you want to read that, it's there. Here, there's another 2 articles about Article 140. Article 140 raises controversy again. Calls to delay its implementation and take into account the sensitivity of the situation. So on one hand, there's people saying, wait, because it's basically like they're gonna knock on someone's door and go, okay, yes, I know you've been living here for 20, 25 years, but guess what? These people are gonna live here now. And I don't know where you're gonna go. Sorry, but it's in the Constitution, right? So, yeah, that's part of Article 140. Part of Article 140 is giving land, and there's other land that's undeveloped also. Giving land, also giving money. So, but the reason why I bring this up is it very much seems that right around times when we're expecting the rate to change, people in dinar land are expecting the rate to change, they bring up Article 140. So here's the document, and then I translated the document here if you want to read it. Okay. U.S. Embassy in Beirut warns its citizens against traveling to Lebanon. Also, Italy has told their people go home. Germany has told their people go home. And one other place. Here we can skip that, but you might want to read that. Just really quick. Nephew Barzani and Sidani went to Iran to participate in the inauguration of the new government. It was like half a day, they're already back. But other things, were discussed, I do believe, on the out outskirts of that particular meeting, because Sadani did meet with the little short guy with the beard, Ayatollah. So for certain, they spoke of, I'm sure the G word, the 4-letter G word, starts with G, ends with A, and the Pizza Land. They talked about that, and we gotta help them and get that situation under control. But yeah, so here's an article about Lebanon and how is Iraq going to be affected by escalation. Okay, so these are the next articles are dated July 30th. Corruption and favoritism weaken the Iraqi stock exchange. So you might want to read this. Again, here's more corruption being brought to attention, and how are we going to deal with this? And then also, as of late, they've been talking about the Iraqi stock exchange is part of the monetary reform. So if they're going to do this, change the rate, get new money out, have new laws, it makes sense they're trying to squash all the corruption that they can before they do that. But this is very detailed. See Article 14, Article 15, Article 16. So it shows how they are breaking laws. Neglected laws lead to a bitter reality. So will they do something? Who knows? I've bolded this here, and I'll just read this. But the bigger problem lies in the suspicions of corruption and favoritism that are spreading around the management of the ISX, which is Iraqi Stock Exchange, which makes it tolerate illegal situations and circumvent the laws. Rumors are spreading about corruption within the management of the market, where violations are overlooked due to personal relationships and interests, which undermines confidence in regulatory system. This bitter reality reflects a state of chaos, and indifference to the laws, which makes it difficult to achieve any progress towards transparency and good governance. So you could read, there's more to that article. You could read it here. I don't normally talk about the framework anymore because their big thing right now is they want, there's a couple of mayoral positions they want, and it's about the House Speaker, but that we don't need that for the RV. But there was some reason Sadani went to this meeting. There was something special about this one, which was why I put this here. So if you'd like to read that, Maliki is not there. He hasn't been to the last 2 meetings. So something's going on there. Although there have been posts where his party is going to nominate him for prime minister in the next election whenever they have it. So here, this came out. Here's another emphasis on squashing corruption, curbing, curtailing, whatever proper word you should use there, right? Iraqi Parliamentary Integrity Committee accuses CBI of lack of transparency in dollar auction. So because of this, and actually this came out on Monday. This article came out on Monday. But anyway, doesn't matter. Someone wants to bring Al-Alaq to Parliament again to be questioned. I'm not sure if he'll go or not. He almost has to, though, because if he doesn't go, then what? It looks like corruption and he's part of it, right? Even though one of these articles admits corruption goes back to the time of Saddam Hussein, right? But since he's the man in the seat right now, Al-Alaq is the one who has to act. So Majid Shingali called on the Council of Ministers to take decisive and bold measures regarding Iraq's financial reality. He stressed there needs to be a process of building trust between citizens and the banking system, which currently suffers from a significant lack of confidence. So here again, like I said, emphasis on corruption in the CBI. Could they be like, hey, this is the last place we need to clean up before we make this happen? Who knows? Here's an article about, now it's written, well, the person who wrote it is probably Iraqi or Arabic in some way, but Washington Institute is where this came from. The federal court is a tool in the hands of Iranian militias to destroy democracy in Iraq. And I always have said that we don't talk much about the court because it's so boring, but it really bugs me. The head judge in the country is Iranian. So why? How does that happen? But anyway, so I like them talking. This is good conversation because before you can solve a problem, you have to acknowledge that it exists, right? So this is like the article rewritten in the Iraqi news. There's a link here if you actually want to see the original report. So it's not a live link here because, see, this is a preview. But once this blog goes live, that link will be live. Here it is. With a grand celebration attended by dignitaries, the opening date of the architectural masterpiece of the central bank is revealed. But it's not, because it is scheduled that at the end of the current year or the beginning of the new year. That's not a date. That's an Iraqi date, though. That's how they put dates out. Okay. Iranian trade delegation visits Erbil, which is in Kurdistan, to discuss expanding trade relations. So they're, what can we do? Iran is part of Iraq, whether I like it or not. So now, let's see. This article, actually, I should have put in the military stuff, but I didn't. But it's here. So this was earlier in Tuesday. Sources. Washington sent 2 messages to Tehran through Iraqi mediators. Lebanon worries everyone because they knew eventually there was going to be conflict. And in this case, I'm using the word conflict for a 3-letter word that starts with W and ends with R that we can't say. Right? Okay? So, yeah. So that happened because, let me see, is it down here? Major fire. Tel Aviv, I think I can say that. Diplomacy, American diplomacy, you're right. So, I'm sure you know by now about this. 12 children and teenagers were unalived on Saturday morning, right? So that was the catalyst to the next things. Okay. Matter of fact, since we're here, but before that, this happened. So this name right here is the new Iranian president. See that? Iranian president, Masoud, I don't know how to say his last name. He said, any ice cream land attack on Lebanon will have dire consequences. And he said this to Macron. What's Macron's first name? well, he's the president or whatever of France, and I have been educated that France is the go-between of Iran and ice cream land. See this word right here? If you're new to me and you don't know what I mean by ice cream land, this word right here. I try my best not to say this word. All right? Yeah. So they did try to talk it over, but oops, didn't work very well, did it? All right. Okay, so we're at 30 minutes. We're almost done. Let's see. Government advisor Mohammed Saleh, see his name right there, adopting budget schedules has become a reality and does not affect financial obligations. I don't care how many times he says that. I don't believe it because they have not implemented the budget. They still haven't put the budget schedules in the Gazette. So something's being held up. I know he has to go on TV and put a good face on, right? And so maybe that's why. But let's see. Here at the end, he noted the instructions for implementing the general budget schedules for the fiscal year 2024 will touch upon some of the developments and partial financial transactions that have been newly created or adapted and not the faculties of public finance, and that the financial activity in the country with its three pillars, and here's the three pillars, revenues, expenditures, and deficit management, is proceeding in a consistent and harmonious manner. But I don't believe that. How are they proceeding? Well, I guess they are spending. They are spending to keep things going. But that's from the general budget. That's not from these. These budget schedules are adjustments, right? So, I don't know. It's crazy. Okay, let's see. I think we can skip this. But you might want to read that. And you know what? This is a good article. It's really long, but it talks about all the agencies that are involved in trying to get the people educated so they can work. So I really do recommend reading. This is relatively new. Maybe within the last 2 years, these organizations have come together. And they go to Herbal. This particular meeting was in Herbal, which is Kurdistan. So see, developing national, micro, small, and medium enterprises in Iraq. And look, it is long, but well worth the read, in my opinion, of course. So this is one example of those articles that I was telling you. They're finding banks that are doing untoward things, and they're putting it in the paper. And then at the bottom of the article, oops, this one they don't have the link, or I didn't put it there. But this one they go into more detail. See, they have a chart here. So maybe with this one they didn't need to put a link. But listen to this title. Banking Scandal. QNB, which is Qatari National Bank, owns 85% of Mansour Bank shares. So basically they own that bank. But I don't think that was known until now that they've been audited. But see how they say banking scandal? And it says a heavy bomb exploded that will shake the foundations of the Iraqi financial sector if it is dealt with seriously. So they may just sweep it. Oh yeah, we knew that was going on, Move along here. These are not the droids you're looking for, right? But yeah, so Very interesting that they're putting that in the news for the people to see. Look at this. Iraqi Army received 7 Bell 505 helicopters from the U.S. We can skip that. So Kurdistan has continued to send the payroll, employee payrolls to Baghdad. I think this is the third or fourth time in a row. So they're online and on board and in line with what they're supposed to be doing, at least part of it anyway. Reasons for the momentum of demand for the dollar in the local market. I believe, yeah, they're going back to the travelers. The travelers are buying dollars, but for the most part, they buy them where they're supposed to. The designated branches, but there's a lot of them, and they don't want to have to go through those hoops. So guess what they do? They go to the parallel market and pay 1,505 dinars per dollar. Yep. Okay, let's see, what's this? Budget implementation instructions. This is procedural issue. So this is Mohammed Saleh again talking about the budget schedules. Again, saying it does not affect financial obligations. And when you have to repeat something over and over, it's kind of like you're trying to convince someone, right? Anyway, Parliamentary Finance, we wrote a paragraph to transfer 2 trillion dinars to support government budgets. So that, remember when I mentioned 2 trillion dinars earlier? So I do believe they're trying to resolve the issue. They're admitting, yes, we got caught. But here's what we can do to get this out of the way. Here's another article about Article 140. Let's see. So here, experts say dollar stability depends on creating a new platform with Iran and Syria. So they're shutting down those banks. Those banks probably were funneling money off to Iran and Syria, right? So this will be a way to get them money. And see, it's also, they're dealing with traders and travelers. So they're like, okay, we can't totally cut them out because they need money. We need to do business with them. So let's just make a platform just for those two. So maybe that will be a way to resolve the situation. And then they can monitor that specifically, right? So I think that happened pretty darn fast. All right. Here, Parliamentary Committee. Parliament will host the central bank governor for this reason. They want transparency on the auctions. So here's the law stating how they have the right to bring him before the Parliament people with the articles and all of that. Here's the document. It's scrunched, right? You know how I say, but the document is down here. So I don't know why that picture is there, but here's Al-Alaq. So this is some kind of meeting. Maybe they're getting their story straight before he goes to. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so yeah. Let's see. Exchange rate, parallel market. Yeah, I don't see a date. But I do believe he'll go. I believe he'll go before these people and answer their questions. Here, Iraq and Iran discuss developing economic relations between Baghdad and Tehran. So the earlier article was Erbil, which is Kurdistan, right? Talking about trade. And they also met with Baghdad. Okay, one more and then it'll be the military stuff. So just bear with me. I know this is long, but this isn't even everything. And this was just 2 days. So I suspect I'll probably post again tomorrow. Well, which is now today. But it'll be later, about this time to give you a break. All right. This is a member of parliament. Corruption dates back to Saddam's time. Is the budget error and employee oversight? So, and I think I said that. It's not, Al-Alaq is just the guy sitting in the chair right now. But they've been corrupt. The CBI has had corruption in it before we went over there, right? So this again is another good article to read. I apologize for this. I don't know how to get this color. I think it's yellow or orange. I don't know how to get that off. I didn't do that. And I don't know how to get rid of that. So, all right. So military officials to Reuters, whatever, U.S. carried out strike in Iraq. Yes, you heard me. Not one, but two. Right around the time there was a Lebanon hit, that would have been, so today's Wednesday, it would have been early Wednesday morning. The difference is we hit Weapons Depot. So we didn't, well, there could have been people working there maybe that are affected. I'm putting air quotes around the word affected. So that just happened. We'll get more of that. But so Sudani is embarrassed by the removal of American forces and is trying to balance interests between Tehran and Washington. Our forces aren't going anywhere, but it's a tough place for him to be. Here's an article from the New York Times. Any withdrawal would multiply the armed factions. So if we leave, you know who's going to step right in and take over, right? So you might want to read that. And I think that is it. Yes. So 42 minutes. I know it's a long one. I apologize. But in my opinion, all of that stuff is important. Everything, even the articles I didn't cover, I think they're important. And you should go and read them. All right. So even if you don't, I'm happy that you listen. I hope it helps. I know it helps. You guys tell me that it helps. And that is the reason I do this, because I want you to not give up, not get anxious, but accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Know that you're not alone, right? There's a whole multiple millions of people in the country waiting with you, right? We're just not all connected. So I'm not going to drag this out. Thank you for listening. If there's a follow, join, whatever type button like that, wherever you're enjoying this content, swipe it, tap it, click it, whatever you have to do to activate it, because I don't post regularly. And if you activate that, and if technology works as it's supposed to, when I update, you will be notified. So again, I thank you. And enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you're enjoying this content. And until next time.